When we think about the idea of holiness, we often picture distance, a kind of separation from our mistakes, from our shame, from all the broken pieces of ourselves and the world around us. Because if we're honest, most of us have something we're afraid would make people take a step back if they really, truly knew. It's a heavy question, isn't it? That deep down feeling that there's a part of your life, maybe your past or your heart, that you think is just too messy, too broken to be dealt with? Well, today we're going to dive into a story about a man who lived that reality every single moment of his life. See, in the ancient world, leprosy was so much more than a skin disease. It was a sentence of total isolation. Under the law, anything considered unclean had to be kept separate to protect the community's holiness. So this man, he was an outcast in every way imaginable, literally outside the village, completely cut off from his family, and totally without hope. All right, so our story picks up right in Matthew's gospel. Jesus has just finished giving this incredible teaching on a mountainside. He comes down, walks into the crowds, and that's when everything suddenly grinds to a halt. I mean, you can just picture it, can't you? A lone figure starts pushing his way through, and this wave of pure shock and fear just ripples through the crowd. People literally pull back, creating this space, and you can hear the whispers. Unclean, unclean. This guy is breaking every single social and religious rule just by being there. He falls down right in front of Jesus, and his words, wow, they are just packed with desperation and this incredibly fragile kind of faith. And listen really closely to what he asks. He doesn't say, heal me. He says, you can make me clean. You see, his real wound, his deepest pain, wasn't the disease on his skin. It was the separation in his soul. His request actually gets to the very core of the human condition. We all carry this kind of brokenness inside, what the Bible calls sin, which isn't just about doing bad things. It's this fundamental separation from God. And his question, if you are willing, that's the question we've all been asking ever since. Are you willing to close this distance between us? And this is the moment, this is where the whole story turns. No rabbi, no priest, no one who is considered holy would have ever done this. Jesus crosses the line. He reaches out and he touches the untouchable. And this one act flips an entire religious principle completely on its head. It reveals something totally new and radical about the nature of God's holiness. Okay, so here's the game changer. Under the Old Covenant law, impurity was contagious. If you touched something unclean, you became unclean. That was the rule. But with Jesus, holiness is the contagious thing. His holiness is so powerful, it isn't contaminated by the man's uncleanness. No, it flows outward from him and completely swallows it up. He reverses the entire flow of power. And with that touch, we get the answer to that huge human question. I am willing. And in an instant, the man is made new. His skin is healed, sure, but more than that, his separation is over. He's restored. This whole encounter is basically the gospel in miniature. It's a perfect, living parable of Jesus' entire mission. He didn't come to keep a safe, holy distance from our mess. He came to step right into the middle of it and bring us back to God. But just when you think the story's wrapped up, Jesus gives a really strange instruction. He tells the man, hey, don't go telling everyone about this. Why on earth would he say that? Well, it turns out there's a brilliant reason. What Jesus commanded was actually this incredible strategic move. By sending the man straight to the priest, he was forcing the very religious system that threw this man out to be the ones who had to officially verify his healing and declare him clean. It was like a quiet, legal testimony declaring that the one with the real authority to cleanse people, the Messiah, was finally here. So this one incredible moment is way bigger than just a single miracle. It's a signpost. It's like a small window that gives us a peek into a much bigger reality that God is bringing to the entire world. You could say every single miracle Jesus did was like a movie trailer for the coming kingdom of God. It was a preview of a world where everything sad finally comes untrue. A world with no more sickness, no more death, and no more separation. Each healing was just a little taste of the final, complete restoration of all things. But the ultimate uncleanness, the deepest kind, wasn't a disease. It was sin itself. And on the cross, Jesus would perform the ultimate act of touching the untouchable. He would take all of our sin, all of our corruption and shame onto himself. And his resurrection 3 days later, that's the final word on the subject. It is the absolute proof that God's holiness and his life are infinitely more powerful than our sin and death. It's the guarantee that the full restoration we got a glimpse of in this story is actually coming for all of creation. So, what does this ancient story have to do with us, right here, right now? How do we get in on this? How does this become our story? The reality is, so many of us live just like that leper. We feel like spiritual outcasts. We hide the parts of ourselves that we're ashamed of. We keep our distance from God not because we don't want to be close to him, but because we're just not sure he'd actually welcome us if he saw the full extent of our mess. And to that feeling, to that deep fear, Jesus' answer rings out across 2,000 years, and it's exactly the same. I am willing. I am willing to cleanse you. I am willing to forgive you. I am willing to restore you. So, you see, the question was never really about God's willingness. It's always been about our approach. Faith isn't about getting your act together first. Faith is just doing what that leper did. It's moving toward Jesus, even with your fear, even with your feelings of unworthiness, and trusting him. So I'll just leave you with this. That thing we talked about right at the beginning. That part of your life that you feel is untouchable. This story is your open invitation to bring that very thing to Jesus, knowing that his holiness doesn't pull back from your brokenness. It moves in and restores it completely.